Hello, everybody. I wanted to come to you today and share that back in 2020, I put out like a summary, okay? A little bit of a mind blower. But I made a statement back in 2020 that you could buy 3 assets in 3 years while recycling around I think it ended up being $120,000. Well, welcome to 2023. My name is Mandy Brenham, and I'm still standing today behind the opportunity for somebody, for an investor, a strategic investor who's happy to either be able to work with a JV partner or do this work themselves. Both ways work. How to buy 3 assets in 3 years. And I'm just going to put a little bit of a caveat, a little bit of a higher number on this. I think you should be able to do it for $200,000 and under. Actually, I know that you can do it for $200,000 and under. So I want to describe that to you today, okay? Year number 1, you are going to be buying a duplex. Now, I just looked with a fellow investing with a coaching client of mine over the weekend, and we found Pembroke, Ontario, Petawawa, Ontario, few small towns outside of Ottawa, 2 to 3 hours outside of Ottawa. We found Cornwall, Ontario, Sudbury, Ontario, Sarnia, Ontario, and then of course northern cities such as Sault Ste. Marie, Thunder Bay, Kirkland Lake, Elliott Lakes, places like that. That you would be able to go and buy a multifamily home. Okay, you would take that multifamily home to a lender, an A lender. I would anticipate an A lender. CIBC, Scotiabank, RBC. If you need a direct contact with one of my bank specialists, please reach out. Send me an email at info@mandybrenham.com, and I'd be happy to be able to set that up, because the financing on this strategy is essential. Please understand that. That is one of the key things for you to be able to do this 3 assets in 3 years with $200,000 has to do with the financing. Okay. So year number 1, you buy a duplex. You're going to have to renovate that duplex. That's why I've given you a little bit higher of an amount of money. You're going to have to renovate that property. And potentially, with the lenders right now, you are going to have to hold that property for, 6 months. You're going to have to show some consistency of the income. Possibly, okay? And that's okay, because you're going to renovate it and put tenants in that right away. That's the point of why we're buying rental properties. Okay, at the end of year 1, you're going to go back to that lender, and at the same time that you're refinancing property number 1, you're going to be ready to buy property number 2. So you're almost bringing the bank 2 files. A new file for a new mortgage and a refinance file for the property that you bought a year ago, okay? I value your time, I value the process, and I know that it does take a lot for you to be able to qualify for mortgages. So when I'm talking about doing 2 at once, it's not adding too much on your plate. It's actually allowing the duplicatability of the paperwork and the questions and the accuracy of how up to date is this information. So you're handing them all these documents at the same time. Perfect. Okay, come year 2, here you are, you got a purchase and sale agreement. You're going to buy a very similar property to the first one that you bought, okay? So you go in and you buy another small multi, 2 to 4 units, keeping in mind that I'm keeping my amount of money in mind that I highly suggest that you should be able to pull back out. So you're looking for a small BRRRR, maybe 1 vacant unit, maybe a couple vacant units. Again, in these rural towns, this strategy is not going to work in Whitby or in Burlington, okay? And that's okay. It won't work in Hamilton either. And that's okay. That doesn't mean that my strategy doesn't work here in 2023. Okay, so at the beginning of year number 2, so this would be at the beginning of 2024, you're going to be buying another duplex I would anticipate in the same town. Why in the same town? Because you will have built up a team of contractors and plumbers and electricians and a property manager, and you have a real estate agent there, and your bank understands already you're becoming more of a sophisticated investor. You're not just pulling something out of thin air. It's not random anymore. You are creating a strategy. Excellent. Year number 2 is going by. You're doing the same thing. You're renovating some units. You're turning over those. You're increasing the value of the rental stock within that small little town. And then you're going to be ready to be able to go back to the bank. You're going to put a refinance for property number 2 on the table at the same time that you're buying your 3rd property. It's pretty simple. I'm not making more of this than it has to be, and I'm not undercutting what this could be for you, okay? So you buy now a 3rd property at the same time that you're refinancing property number 2. So what are you doing? You're pulling out the money from the renovations and the down payment that you put into property number 2, and you're using them, you're recycling them, burring them into property number 3. Pretty straightforward. Here you are at the beginning of 2025. You have now stabilized property number 2. Property number 1 is definitely moving along. You don't need to touch it. And number 2 is ready for this refi, and you're ready to buy property number 3. Boom. Away you go. You're getting into property number 3. Now, maybe you leave some money in property number 3. Maybe you're able to go a little bit bigger with property number 3 because it's, maybe the market has changed. Maybe you just want to go bigger. You're done with the small duplexes, triplex. Maybe this is going to be a 4plex. Again, you're going back to the same lender. So I'm talking to you, the ones who have solid, stable incomes, the ones that have been at your job for, 5 to 15 to 30 years. You're phenomenal. The bank loves to lend to you. So don't get in your head that you can't qualify for more and more mortgages. So here we are at the end of year 3. Let's say you bought a duplex and you bought another duplex, and now you've put the rest of your money into a 4plex. So at the end of 3 years, you will own 8 units, 3 rental properties, and the max you will have invested over those 3 properties is $200,000. That's just amazing, okay? Now here's the next interesting thing. You can do this in 3 years, or you could talk to the lender that, again, reach out, info@mandybrenham.com, and I'm happy to be able to connect you with one of my lender mortgage specialists. And you just need to describe this to them. Look I want to buy 3 assets. I'm going to recycle my money around, and I'm going to come back to you each and every time I'm doing this. Set me up correctly for property number 1 so that I can buy property number 2 and property number 3 as soon as you tell me it's a good time for me to refinance and buy again. So if you want to speed up this process, you can. If you want to do it in 6 to 9 months for each property, then that would be able to get you 3 assets in a year and a half, 2 years, rather than having to wait 3. So it's still a strategy that works in the current landscape. Make sure there's some variety, there's some variables there. So I'm not describing that this is, a strategy that's, for the lackadaisy, for the non-planner, for the, sure, this might work and maybe here. No. I'm talking strategy, okay? So if you want to know how to do 3 assets in 3 years with $200,000, reach out today, follow me on my socials, and watch this video again and again, and you too will be able to understand the strategy, how you can get into real estate, 3 assets in 3 years with $200,000. Have a great day.